Good morning, YouTube. My name is Rohan and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about communication skills and techniques that I use to effectively communicate with other people. There's this author, Thomas Gordon, who wrote these 12 roadblocks that we may use in our daily conversations that hinder or cease the conversation. I wanted to quickly go over the 12 of them and talk a little bit after that about how I try to stay away from these roadblocks and how I use these techniques to communicate better with other people in my life. So let's get started. The first is ordering, directing, or commanding. Examples would be, don't say that. You've got to face up to reality. Go right back there and tell that person you're sorry. The second roadblock is warning or threatening. Some examples would be, if you don't start treating that person better, you're going to lose them. You'd better listen to me or you'll be sorry. You're asking for trouble when you do that. The third roadblock is giving advice, making suggestions, or providing solutions. Sometimes I would say things like, what I would do is, or why don't you do, or have you tried doing this? I find myself very guilty of this. I try to keep everything on the I. I didn't realize that a lot of times it's actually stopping the conversation from continuing. The fourth is persuading with logic, arguing, or lecturing. Examples would be, the facts are that, yes, but let's think this through. Fifth roadblock is moralizing, preaching, telling them their duty. You should. You really ought to. It's your duty as this person to do this. The sixth is judging, criticizing, disagreeing, or blaming. Examples would be, it's your own fault. You're being too selfish. You're wrong. The seventh roadblock is agreeing, approving, or praising. I think you're absolutely right. That's what I would do. You're a good blank. Shaming, ridiculing, labeling, or name-calling is the eighth roadblock, and some examples of that would be, that's really stupid. You should be ashamed of yourself. How could you do such a thing? The ninth roadblock is interpreting or analyzing. You don't really mean that. Do you know what your real problem is? You're just trying to make me look bad. The 10th roadblock is reassuring, sympathizing, or consoling. There, it's not all that bad. I'm sure all is going to work all right. Don't worry, you'll look back on this in a year and laugh. The 11th is questioning or probing. What makes you feel that way? You're going to do that? Why? And the last roadblock is withdrawing, distracting, humoring, or changing the subject. Let's talk about this another time. That reminds me of the time when I hear it's going to be a nice day tomorrow. So I know that was a lot to process at once, and it seems like with all those examples, that's the only way that we communicate at all. I was asking myself, what is left after that? But I think it's very situational, and it depends on the person you're talking to. Sometimes people are just looking to vent or get a message across and aren't really looking for advice. I was always under the impression that I had to give my opinion on something, or that the person was sharing with me because they're looking for some sort of advice. But it seems like a lot of times people just want to talk for the sake of getting it off their chest. Kind of like how I use meetings and my sober network to just talk things out. That really is all I'm looking for. I'm not looking for advice. I can come up with my own solutions, but being able to keep it going beyond that is something that I don't really need from other people. So I find that it's really imperative to always jump into a conversation and just talk for the sake of talking. A lot of these I still use on a daily basis when I am trying to communicate with other people, and it's just being mindful of where the other person is coming from. If it's something that they're looking for advice, I might be able to ask them, so do you want my feedback on this? Or what are you looking to get out of this? Or do you have a plan for how you're going to approach this situation? And letting the speaker come up with their own solutions to their problem. I think I find that just because I can come up with a solution doesn't mean that someone else can't, and it's important to let some people come up with their solutions on their own. I think that gains the trust between the relationship and exhibits some form of respect that I'm not only here just to give my own insight, but I'm also here to listen to someone else's issues or problems. Today was going to be a short video. I just wanted to touch up quickly on these forms of roadblocks that might be hindering your communication with someone that's important to you, whether it be a friend, a family member, a boss, a coworker. It's important to realize that not everyone's looking for advice when they're talking, and sometimes it's important just to be an open ear for them to vent their issues. So with that, I hope you guys have a great Sunday, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. All right, peace.